all the handicapped Governor Hot Wheels. And so they become a wall like it on convention that Congress. I wasn't thinking about his condition, right? I think if I, they were things, the reality is they have. Why Texas is going to remain red and why Republicans are going to continue to win elections across the country.
The gentleman from Texas, talk to us about how you feel.
Well, I think the area that she represented was once represented by what we used to call a gentleman from Texas, Eddie Bernice Johnson. She was known as being bipartisan. She was a Democrat, of course, but she worked across the aisle and got along with people. She would be disappointed when Congresswoman is getting position. It's very trashy. It was very, the statement that she provided was also race baiting when she decided to say that the governor was targeting black mayors. All of those cities decided to be a sanctuary. And I would note that all of those cities with their black population stormed the city councils and said, why are you bringing them to our backyard? Why do you have these policies when we should be focused on the issues that impact us on a day-to-day basis? I would note though, Greg Abbott in my home state of Texas is hugely popular. He's probably the best governor in my lifetime there. I'm not sure we can say the same thing all the time.
Jerry, I want to talk about a potential for a pattern here, because last night the chief of staff said a statement, please be assured that the Congresswoman in no way meant any harm toward the governor or meant to take lightly any medical conditions that he may have. She said, please know that the Congresswoman has and will continue to advocate for the needs of our disabled neighbors across Texas 30, the state of Texas, and our country as a whole. But I go back to a tweet of the Congresswoman from 2022, where she writes, the new nickname I have for Beto O'Rourke is the king of the clapbacks. Beto is rolling all around the state. Where is Abbott moved? Some argue this is a pattern of being anti-disabled and, at a minimum, highly insensitive for years.
Why is it that the people who are always saying that Republicans are short-sighted and that they're not welcoming to people, that they in fact end up saying stuff like this? It astonishes me. Look, public discourse is hitting a new low. The governor has it absolutely right. The Democrats are reeling. They don't know what to do, and they're lashing out in a really immature way.
She talks about the language, Bailey. Let's harken back to a bit of a meltdown, today's House DOJ subcommittee hearing, where the point of the hearing to press NPR and PBS on their news coverage, and this is what we were expected to.
We need to stop playing, because that's what y'all are doing in here. You don't want to hear the opinions of anybody else, and the Constitution says Congress shall make no law respecting or establishing of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging
The gentlewoman's time has expired. The gentlewoman's time has expired. So Jasmine Crockett, Governor Hot Wheels, she said, my head immediately went to Governor Abbott being in a wheelchair. I played the soundbite for some others who immediately said, how could she say this? Now she claims, oh wait, I wasn't thinking about the governor's condition. I was thinking about planes, trains, and automobiles used to transfer migrants into communities led by black mayors. For Jasmine Crockett, the Washington Free Beacon, bring them in wherein they found Facebook posts from 2021 for liking comments where they said Governor Hot Wheels. Well, that was before the busing into these Democratic cities. So she was liking comments long before the explanation she gives. Now, I'm young enough, or I should say old enough, to remember a few short years ago where the media, Mr. Jake Tapper, went nuts on anyone accusing Joe Biden's mental acuity, bringing forward allegations there. He blamed it on a stutter and said you were making fun of Joe Biden's stutter. He and many in the media did that. So where's the media? The media love to jump on and say you're all making fun of Biden's stutter. You know, how dare you bring this up? Well, where are you jumping on Jasmine Crockett? Because this is a much clearer reference here to Governor Abbott being in a wheelchair. It's disgraceful after the punching comments and taking down Elon Musk. She has a pattern here. Say things that are absolutely outrageous and then just plead the fifth after. I wasn't meaning violence. Sorry, Jasmine Crockett. I'm not buying that.
The bottom line is decorum.
Yeah.
Okay, you are a leader. You represent yourself, you represent your people, you represent your town. That is important. And also, you should never make disparaging remarks about people with disabilities. And even if you disagree with the governor and his politics, respect the seat.
That's right. And a lot of the media warrants has sort of, I think, tamped down the outrage. And there's a lot of whataboutism that they're pulling in. And the point is, one congresswoman's deplorable behavior and comments, we're not bringing in everything.
Well, then they don't wanna say, because when you look at some of the polling data, she's considered now, I think she got 4% in the latest poll when it comes to who should be the leader of the Democratic Party. This is it. This is one of the leaders. And if you think this is gonna be the next big star for your party, you're gonna get trampled again in the next election. You gotta start focusing on the things that matter to people, working class, the border, things that matter to people. She's looking for a soundbite. I have a prediction, though. I think she's gonna burn out. I really do. I think her whole appeal is outrage. And I don't think she's focused on the issues that matter to the American people. I don't predict an elevation in a role. I'll just say.
Okay, Emily, Governor Abbott and I went to DC together, so.
Nothing on that note. Coming up, a New York City woman is going viral over her failed attempt to snatch a man's MAGA hat. That video for you next. This is where they can save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check your outfit first before meeting your girlfriend's family. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Did they just hop from a baseball game to a show on Max without leaving their TV? It's like all their apps and channels are.
Oh, it's all connected. Those movie sports movie shows,
Is she talking to us?
film, husband, TV, with all their favorite stuff on one home screen. Uncanny content suggestions based on the watch history, mind control.
Were you recently electrocuted?
A better way to watch, whatever you want to watch.
Well, I for one am intrigued.
Renewal by Anderson presents Expert Installation.
Hey, Sam. What's going on?
Hey, Joe, we're getting our new replacement windows installed. We went with Renewal by Anderson. Their replacement windows are among the best in the industry.
Good morning.
Hi, Don. This is my neighbor, Joe.
Nice to meet you. Hey, Don. Providing our homeowners expert installation is our top priority. We never rush. Details like perfectly matching your window trim style matter to us. We always clean up thoroughly afterwards. Then, the job is done. We'll walk you through a product demonstration and answer any questions you might have. One thing we always like to remind our homeowners is that when you go with Renewal by Anderson, installation is always included.
Installation is included. Heck, I paid a pretty penny for installation, and that was on top of the price of the windows themselves.
You can count on Renewal by Anderson. Do the job right, on time, on budget. It's what you should expect from an industry leader.
Well, I've been watching your team install your windows, and I have to say, they really know their stuff.
That's because our certified master installers are highly trained when it comes to installing your windows.
Impressive.
And they stand behind their product too, right, Don?
Because we sell, manufacture, and install urethane windows, we absolutely stand behind both our product and our installation. Our industry-leading warranty is one of the best in the nation.
It's Renewal by Anderson's 31-day sales event. Save $379 on every window and save $779 on every patio door and entry door with no money down, no monthly payments, and no interest for 12 months. Call before our 31-day sales event ends March 31st. 1-800-704-4200. For the treatment of relapsing forms of multiple sclerosis in adults, Ponvory lowers the number of white blood cells, lymphocytes, in your blood. Usually, this will return to normal within 1 to 2 weeks of stopping treatment. Ponvory can increase your risk of serious infections that can be life-threatening and may cause death. Ponvory can cause your heart rate to slow down, especially after you take the first dose. Do not take Ponvory if in the last 6 months you had a heart attack, unstable angina, stroke, or other severe heart conditions, including certain types of abnormal heart rhythm. The most common side effects of Ponvory include upper respiratory tract infections, elevated liver enzymes, and high blood pressure. Starting treatment with Ponvory will begin with the starter pack. Ask your doctor about Ponvory or visit ponvory.com to learn more. By Vanda Pharmaceuticals.
You can watch, listen, Galilee's news, business and news headlines on Sirius XM, anytime, anywhere. Fox News Audio on Sirius XM, America is listening.
New York City subway is blowing up online. It already has 4 million views. That's a lot. Watch as a woman attempts to snatch a MAGA hat from a young man's head, only to end up with a little bit of karma, some would say.
Governor Adams and I went to UT. Both went there, not at the same time. None of these, I'm sorry, but anyway. Now, back to this lady. Calm down, okay? First of all, we're just trying to get home, all right? We don't need you doing way too much on the subway. And don't touch my hat. And guess what else? Do not touch my hair.
There you go.
I just think it's trashy behavior.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think the real story is that you're seeing so many MAGA hats in New York City. I see it at the gym. 4 years ago, 8 years ago, you would never see that. And there's this growing trend of people, it's become, it's not just about MAGA. It's about the country now. People are rallying around the country. They like being fierce. And they're not ashamed anymore. There used to be the silent Trump voter. They were loud in the election. We're talking about the most minority support for Republicans. Since Reconstruction, you got Black, Latinos, you got Asian, you got young people now. And I just think this assault touch people, set things on fire when they disagree with, vandalize things. They need to be prosecuted.
You know, and as I look at this footage, I just think to myself, who has that level of anger? Like, most people get on the subway and like put their AirPods in, like listen to a book or watch a movie or like catch up on that reality show. Who gets on and it's like, let's yell at someone with a MAGA hat. Like, if I see someone with a Joe Biden sticker on the highway, I'm like, you be you. Okay, fine. Maybe someone you be you.
Yeah. I feel like this is just a perfect illustration of what upper class, elite, overeducated women and people think of MAGA voters and Trump supporters, right? This is 11:30 p.m. on the 6th at 28th Street. So everyone can afford that downtown rent, which is really expensive. She thinks that she can come and approach some guy. It's assault and battery legally, by the way. And think about her talking points. You are a racist, and if you're wearing it, you are uneducated. And those are the only two statements she continues to repeat. So she is automatically equivocating those people who support Trump, who put America first, as uneducated and racist. And that's the issue. And the fact that she has the hubris and the attitude that she can approach him like that and tell him off and then chase after him and prove that she's zero physicality whatsoever and obviously navigates that.
But I think you're onto something here about the class issue. And it's a class issue for the anti-Trump people.
Yeah.
I think there's a big dividing line, and if the smart people are on one side and the not so smart people are on the other. But in reality now, there's a majority of people that are behind Trump, and class plays no real role in that.
I know, and rapidly, that's what the other writer pointed out. He says, that's the problem. You're not listening to all of the people. That's the problem that the Democrats had. They're not listening to all voices. Don't make assumptions.
No, Lauren, what's that way to live? I mean, if you disagree with me, I don't think you're uneducated. You have a different worldview. I don't agree with it. You know what? You're entitled to your opinion. I don't put you in a box. I don't think less of you.
Listen, I love debate. I love most of my friends are Democrats, okay? Because we have a good time. There's more to life outside of politics.
Yes.
But because there's a certain portion of this country that politics has become their life. And sadly, because they take it this way, they believe that the only answer to this is violence. And what do you expect from people when they call the man a Nazi? When they called the man the greatest threat to democracy? When they said that he was going to be in office for a lifetime, that he would never leave? All of this rhetoric only encourages people to act this way. I'm just so glad that the country is finally to a place where people are comfortable wearing their MAGA hats. Like you said, can't be mad at hat. I laugh at them most of the time. But it's okay to express whatever point of view that you have.
By the way, I know how people are always getting, internet altercations and people say, this is this person, this is where they work. Should there be repercussions for this individual? Well, exactly, because I don't know about you guys, but if I were the person that had someone accosting me, you know, I have a bunch of pepper spray in my purse at all times, and I wouldn't stand, it wouldn't have gotten to that point. And if the roles were reversed and it was a male coming after a female, I'll bet the uproar would be even more sound. Right now, everyone's laughing, they're like instant karma, but at the end of the day, this is someone who accosted another individual for their political views, and that, according to New York City ordinance, by the way,
There's something wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong, and let's face it, there's a lot of really depressed people in New York City who voted the other way.
I'm sure Alvin Bragg will immediately get to defending that MAGA wearing a victim. All right, no one is holding their breath. We're outnumbered in most.
Time to join Fox Nation for a limited time only. Sign up for just $2.99 a month. Hurry, take advantage of the spring sale and start streaming all that Fox Nation has to offer.
That time of year again. Hey, buddy, you leaving with on Howell this year?
You bet, brother.
Hey, wait up. Yeah, you know it. Hey, father, you joining Lent again this year? Of course. All right, father. Sister, you joining us again on the app this year, right?
Hi, Mark.
Hey, Chris,
Yo, what's up, Mark?
you want to join us on Howell this year?
Join you on Howell?
Yeah. Yes. Stay prayed up.
Can I say that?
Bring it up. Download Howell today.
At University of Phoenix, we're earning career relevant skills with every 5 to 6 week course and updating our professional profiles in weeks, not years, as we pursue our bachelor's and master's degrees. Earn career relevant skills in weeks, not years, at University of Phoenix. Like a relentless weed, moderate to severe ulcerative colitis symptoms can keep coming back. Start to break away from UC with Tremfya, with rapid relief at 4 weeks. Tremfya blocks a key source of inflammation. At 1 year, many people experienced remission, and some saw 100% visible healing of their intestinal lining. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today.
Buying a car is kind of a big deal. You need to see all the options. See, she knows. Car Gurus gives you the most new and used cars right in your hand. So you know your big deal is the best deal. Car Gurus, the #1 most visited car shopping site.
Clinical enamel strain can help us to keep our enamel for a lifetime. It's backed by science. It is clinically proven to strengthen our teeth. I would recommend this toothpaste to everybody. It's really an amazing product.
Another day of a full-blown meltdown from the radical left. Meanwhile, more major progress from the White House. We've got the details, all happening live tonight on Hannity.
Here's to muscles and bones. Without them, we couldn't run, fly, flash, or get that wing smash. They give us superpowers, keep us connected, and keep us on our toes. Because muscles and bones support us. Kelsey Siebold has more ways to support them. Our world-class orthopedic specialists take care of everything, from sprained ankles to hip replacements, all across Greater Houston. Kelsey Siebold Clinic, changing the way health cares. I'm going to make this real simple. National Forest Direct will beat anyone's price by 15% or it's free. Free room, 60, 70% off, a big box warehouse. It doesn't matter what the sale or offer is. We'll beat their price by 15% or it's free. Call 888-400-FORM and get a guaranteed low price on next day installation of name brand carpet and luxury flooring. 888-400-FORM. We beat their price by 15% or it's free. Real simple.
Police are asking your help tonight in finding an Upper Peninsula man. Police are searching for a missing male guide dog.
Somebody murdered his member, Chris Reagan, and got rid of his remains. I mean, that Calicut killed him.
Kelly Queen, the butterfly tattoos represented lives that she took.
They agreed on their wedding night, and if they ever cheated, they got to kill that person.
And you're smart.
I don't know.
It's a name. Right. He's really responsible for killing 20 people.
The White House briefing coming up, lots of questions expected on the Houthi attack signal chain, including how did the number of a liberal reporter get into that group in the first place? We'll have all the action from the Brady briefing room coming up, including the speech from Vice President J.D. Vance at the top of the hour. Voices on the left becoming more shrill, looking to fill the power vacuum in the Democratic Party, but are those voices what Democrats at large really want? Karl Rove is here. Can Congress really rein in activist judges? We'll talk to John Yoo about that. And customers racing to delete their genetic data after 23andMe files for bankruptcy. We've got the dangers of having your DNA out there with Dr. Masa Tehrani just ahead. I'm John Roberts. Skip join Sandra me top of the hour for America Reports. See you then.
Well, we have what is fair to say a viral moment that just happened in that House hearing on global threats we've been telling you about. It comes on the heels of that brand new signal message that was posted, several of them of these 18 officials talking about the Houthi strike. And it goes after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
To your knowledge, do you know whether Pete Hegseth had been drinking before he leaked classified information?
I don't have any knowledge of Secretary Hegseth's personal habits.
Director Radcliffe, same question. Yes or no?
No, I'm gonna answer that. I think that's an offensive line of question. The answer is no. I find it interesting that you
Hey,
want,
you know what?
no, I'm
It's
gonna
my
answer.
time.
You asked me a
Director,
question, you want an answer?
No, listen.
You don't wanna focus on the good work that the CIA is doing, that the intelligence community.
Director, I reclaim my time. Director, I reclaim my time.
I mean, Emily, this was quite an exchange just to make something up out of thin air, no evidence to prove it, it clearly doesn't have any, and then assert that someone might have been drinking, as if Ratcliffe and Tulsi were like at spy cameras. Yeah, look, I think there's been a theme today that as we talked about decorum and the frankly embarrassing behavior exhibited by some sitting congresspeople, people, and that right there is another example. I find it offensive too. I'm so glad that Director Ratcliffe went to bat for him. Unfortunately, I wish that his time had been reclaimed so that he could have finished his answer. And I also point to in early December when Secretary Hegseth said that he would not drink a drop of alcohol during his tenure as Secretary of Defense, if confirmed. So this is just ridiculous. So there is more to the clip, Lawrence. I'm reading the transcript here. When pressed by Ratcliffe, you have Gomez who goes on to say, Pete Hegseth stood in front of a podium in Europe holding a drink. So of course we wanna know if his performance is compromised. The drink was like water at a podium. So that's your evidence that drinking water at the podium somehow indicates you're drinking alcohol.
Listen. You know, when I'm out on air, I spend a lot of time with the men and women that serve our country. And when they come back from war, they come with a lot of bruises that people can't see. Some of them resort to pills. Some resort to alcohol. Some resort to killing themselves. And Pete Hegseth has been quite transparent about his fall and how the Lord was able to turn his life around through counseling, through faith, through mentorship, and through his wife. It's something that he's been very transparent about. And I think for them to weaponize a story from a hero, now that he's decided to abstain from alcohol and turn his life around, I think it's disgraceful. I think a member of Congress should be conducting themselves this way. I'm offended because he's the Secretary of Defense, but I'm also because he's a brother of mine and a friend. And I've seen his transformation. As a matter of fact, I was actually interviewing the Secretary at the border a few months ago, and I had forgotten all about it. And once the camera started, he goes, "We got to catch up." I go, "Dude, I would love to buy you a drink." And immediately he corrected me. He's like, "Bro, I'm done with it." And so I just think it's disgusting for members of Congress to conduct themselves this way.
Well, sobriety is sacred.
Yeah, it is.
All right, and there are a lot of people, Americans, people in our own families dealing with that. So you should never make light of that, period, number one. And then also, again, I go back to what I said earlier, Emily, it's about decorum. You know, and then also, I mean, just attacking it for no reason, and back to messaging, the Democrats struggle with messaging, and here we go again, another distraction from what was a winning argument for them.
Yeah, and that's where my head was at, you know, Jerry, this is admittedly a mistake, the Trump administration has admitted that. And you take it a step further to like level some unfounded accusation, no proof, just completely destroyed by Lawrence Jones over here. And why do you even take it there? It's really
Desperate. This is desperation on the part of the Democrats, right? They can get no currency, no traction with the American public. They're throwing anything against the wall that they can. And unfortunately, a lot of this stuff just, you know, it just makes the back of your neck itch, right? I mean, because, they're trying anything they can do, and I would say it's sad, but it's actually harmful.
I also want to say this just underscores how bad the Democratic Party is at their messaging now. No one has pointed this out that at the beginning of the hearing, Jim Hines, the ranking member, began his questioning with Kash Patel, who was not even on the chain, and Kash Patel just shot him down. But the appalling part is he goes 5 minutes and doesn't even redirect his questioning to Ratcliffe. It was unclear whether Hines even knew who the key players of these
We
stories
got
were.
to show about Cash like Will Kane did to him yesterday at 4 o'clock. Not prepared, not for prime time.
Hines, the ranking member. All right, more outnumbered in a moment.
The war crisis to me is just the beginning. Most Americans want to know how did the Venezuelan prison get? They look in my backyard. The Venezuela is not their typical gang, they're more of a cartel.
They were recruited out of these migrant shelters.
Taking over apartments, kicking in the door, definitely dealing drugs. Without that consequence, people get bolder.
It's time to pass out.
About.
You're over 45 and still have to screen for colon cancer. Oh no. This is like the 3rd year she's turned 44. Yeah, I wasn't ready, but drink all that crap. Cancer won't you?
That's for Cologuard. It's one of a kind way to screen for colon cancer that's effective and non-invasive.
No crap, and you use it at home.
False positive and negative results may occur. Those at high risk should use colonoscopy.
Folks, all without positive and negative result. I have heard.
The time to join Fox Nation or limited time only. Sign up for just $2.99 a month. Hurry, take advantage of the spring sale that starts every fall that Fox Nation has to offer.
In fast relief with Commons Plus of Sextonic and nausea support and
Hi, I'm William Devane. Take a look at this tree. It's over 200 years old and still going strong, just like gold. Never before has it been more important to protect your assets, IRAs, and 401ks. I worked hard for my money, and I'm not about to lose it now. I protect my retirement by buying gold every chance I get. I buy my gold from Roslyn Capital because I trust them. With Roslyn, what you order is what you get. No gimmicks, no nonsense, no hassle. Just call. And Roslyn will send you free information on how you can protect your assets and your retirement. So protect your future from the problems of the world. Invest in stability with Roslyn Capital.
Roslyn Capital now to get your free gold kit, your free silver kit, and your free IRA transfer kit. Call 800-630-8900. 800-630-8900. That's 800-630-8900.
Underneath here, I needed it because my fridge is super empty.
It's so easy to just whip together a quick, healthy meal.
Head to hungrygroup.com for healthy groceries and simple recipes. Plus, get free veggies for life.
I still love to surf, snowboard, and of course skate. So I take Juno Magnesium to support my muscle and bone health. Juno's high absorption magnesium glycinate helps me get the full benefits of magnesium. Juno, the brand I trust.
It's time to say, not so fast, chronic kidney disease. Because with a progressive disease like CKD, slow is good. And believe me, I know all about slow. That's why I'm here to tell you about Jardiance. It's a little pill proven to slow the progression of CKD and reduce the risk of kidney failure, which can lead to dialysis.
Serious side effects include increased ketones in blood or urine, which can be fatal. Stop Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, tiredness, trouble breathing, or increased ketones. Jardiance may cause dehydration that can suddenly worsen kidney function and make you feel dizzy, lightheaded, or weak upon standing. General yeast infections in men and women, urinary tract infections, low blood sugar, or a rare life-threatening bacterial infection between and around the anus and genitals can occur. Call your doctor right away if you have fever or feel weak or tired, and pain, tenderness, swelling, or redness in the genital area. Don't use if allergic to Jardiance. Stop use if you have a serious allergic reaction. Call your doctor if you have rash, swelling, difficulty breathing, or swallowing. You may have increased risk for lower limb loss. Call your doctor right away if you have new pain or tenderness, sores, ulcers, or infection.
So go on, say not so fast, CKD. Ask your doctor about Jardiance for chronic kidney disease.
If you are trying to swear off cursing, you might want to hold on. Researchers are claiming that swearing actually increases your pain tolerance, and wait for this, is a sign of strength. So if you stub your toe, it's okay to curse right after because it'll help you recover quicker. And also, cursing among friends is a good thing, as researchers say that it can help boost social bonds. Now, if you're having trouble remembering things, try swearing. Studies also show that cursing can help improve your memory. Jerry, you were telling us in a break about a family anecdote.
So my dad was raised by this family that just did not curse. And he had all these words he used that nobody else knew, you know, it was gall darn, holy cow, and he'd be like, are you really angry? I mean, it's hard for me to tell, but those were his words and we would always laugh. But actually it kind of works, you know, because you can go anywhere and say that, you don't have to worry.
Right, so the argument can could be, the whole point is if you're emoting, that's your release of this stuff, so that's how you can handle the pain, that's how you can feel better, because you're processing versus keeping it in. Like, people can be emotive when they stub their toe, sometimes you can't help that, but look, I guess I'm like your dad's family, I do not come from a family of cussers, we don't cuss. I guess I'm a weakling, that's what I've learned about myself, I'm sorry, I'm an innocent weakling, everyone.
Well, I have a T-shirt that says classy, but I cuss a little.
Working, like there's nothing like bonding with the people in your row when you're like, bruh. Like it's a social bonding, you guys.
It's one of my things. From the South, I'm a preacher's kid, I cuss. It's a time and place, but I feel so much better after it. My pastor watching the show, I ask for repentance, I try to do better. And let me tell you, it's just It makes me feel good sometimes. I just gotta get it out. I just gotta get it out and then I move forward. But I don't believe in trashy behavior. Don't do it publicly.
Around
Don't,
the
when the-
right,
that's
right.
around the kid, have some decorum.
Yeah.
That's what I gave up for Lent this year. That's right.
What?
Oh, yeah.
How's it going? How's it going?
It's not. God loves me no matter what. One of my favorite sayings is he was much cussed and much discussed.
Oh. Over you guys, now America Report starts. Thank you very much. We are kicking off what is going to be a very busy 2 hours of news. Right now, we're reading remarks from Vice President JD Vance. And as new details emerge about the Signal Group chat that he was part of, we're also reading a briefing from the White House. As National Security Advisor Michael Waltz claims the chat leak is on him, he takes responsibility for it, but it wasn't a lack of oversight, he says. Take a listen here.
I take full responsibility. I built the group, and my job is to make sure everything's coordinated. Have you ever had somebody's contact that shows their name and then you have somebody else's number? You got somebody else's number on someone else's contact. So of course I didn't see this loser in the group. It looked like someone else.
All right, hello and welcome everyone. I'm Sandra Smith in New York, and John is going to be one of those split screen news hours because we're waiting on JD Vance and also Caroline Levitt at the White House.
I'll tell you, just trying to nail down the schedule has been difficult. JD Vance is running a little bit behind, getting out to Quantico. So Caroline Levitt, who was going to wait for the vice president, is now going to go first. So she should be coming down in just a couple of moments. I'm John Roberts in Washington, and this is America Reports. Intelligence chiefs testifying on Capitol Hill for the second day in a row now. And the Atlantic magazine journalist in the group chat reveals more of the messages. But the White House adamantly denying claims that actual war plans were shared.
Jackie Heinrich is live from the briefing room as we await Caroline Levitt. Jackie, can only imagine the questions that are about to be put her away there in the briefing room.
I guess it boils down to what is a war plan, because the White House is really seizing on this sort of language shift that we saw from yesterday to today. After Goldberg released the rest of the messages, the headline in the Second Atlantic piece describes what he saw as attack plans rather than the war plans language that we saw yesterday. The White House really seizing on that as a concession, an admission in a way that the Atlantic maybe oversold what it was that they were reporting on, but there are still, of course, some questions that have gone unanswered, even when you had top intelligence officials testifying before the Senate and also the House Worldwide Threats hearing on, some of these details, why they weren't classified, whether the use of Signal was appropriate, getting to the, issue of retention, retaining government communications and that sort of thing. But you've really seen an effort from this White House to turn the focus away from what Mike Waltz admitted last night was an embarrassing incident, to focus more on the substance of the attacks that happened. The White House is painting Goldberg, this reporter who has a long-standing beef with President Trump dating back to the Russia story, the suckers and losers story, as an effort to sort of malign this presidency and distract from the successes of the administration. And so I expect that we're going to see the White House, sort of double down on that narrative, that this is, the framing that they put forward is a dishonest smear attack from this reporter. But you also have, legitimate questions about what he saw, whether some of that material should have been classified, if it was declassified, when it was declassified, if that happened. Those were questions that were deferred to the defense secretary in the hearings yesterday. So I imagine we're going to see another round of that. And later on, also expecting to hear from the vice president in that speech at Quantico. He was supposed to make his remarks earlier this morning, got delayed a little bit. We were initially told the briefing was going to happen after his remarks, but it sounds like it's going to happen in just a few moments here. So we will have this for you first, it seems, guys.
I mean, Jackie, lots of opportunities so far that we've had today to hear directly from White House officials, including obviously the hearing earlier on Capitol Hill. Now we're about to hear from the press secretary and the vice president. As far as what we've heard from President Trump today, and do we know if there's any plans to hear from them directly, speaking to the American public?
He's got an event this afternoon, a Women's Day event. So we do expect to hear something from the president, but forum that happens in, whether there's going to be a crowd, whether it's appropriate for him to take questions. We don't really know what the makeup of that event is going to look like, or if he's gonna get into this substantively. But yesterday he did take a number of questions on this, and it was clear that he stands behind his national security advisor amid some reporting that Waltz should step down or heads should roll over this. He made very clear that, he believes Mike Waltz is a good man, has, learned a lesson, and he would prefer that sensitive communications happen in a secure facility, but they're gonna look into how this reporter got into the chat, and, we'll see what comes out of that. Elon Musk, apparently his team is looking into this. Walt said in his interview last night on Ingram's show that they're having the best technical minds basically take a look at how this reporter got into the chat. So maybe some news there later on.
All right, lots of questions. Jackie Heiner, we are going to be listening to that briefing as soon as it begins. We'll take our viewers there. Thank you. John?
Now that the president wants a lead-lined room with lead floors, President Trump's appearance at that Women's History Month event comes as he and Maine Governor Janet Mills are squaring off over his ban on transgender athletes in women's sports. CB Cotton is live from our New York City newsroom with details. What's the governor saying about this now?
Hi, John. Well, instead of apologizing over the matter, as President Trump called for, Maine's Governor Janet Mills appears to be doubling down.
Who makes the laws, who enforces the laws. I read the Constitution. It doesn't allow him to make laws out of whole cloth by tweet or Instagram post or press release or executive order.
So her remarks come as those who oversee school sports in her state have until tomorrow to comply with Title IX or risk a referral to the Justice Department after the feds found them in violation for allowing biological boys to compete in girls' sports. The investigation came after this biological boy won a state title at a girls' pole vaulting meet earlier this year, prompting the president and Governor Mills to later spar at the White House. The governing body for Maine's high school sports released a statement last week to say it's not obligated to follow Title IX, claiming it does not receive federal funding. Dozens of protesters gathered this weekend in support of the state following its own laws. But Maine high school athlete Cassidy Carlisle tells Fox she's been beaten by a transgender athlete in Nordic skiing several times.
To watch my female governor, who women worked hard for her to have a position like that, look at us and say, I'm not willing to fight for you, nor am I going to. That's hurtful, that's heartbreaking.
So while we wait to see whether referrals are made to the DOJ, the University of Maine has been found to be in compliance with Title IX. And just yesterday, the Department of Education launched investigations in Portland, Oregon, over that city's alleged Title IX violations. John?
Yeah, a lot of us have seen that video of that biological boy running as a transgender athlete beat the next girl by 7 seconds in the 400 meters. CB Cotton for CB, thanks. We're going to talk more about this next hour, Sarah.
Yeah, we've got the pole vault coach, Alan Cornwall, who's going to be joining us. There are officials, there are coaches, we've heard from Coach Cornwall before, who have taken issue with with biological boys competing in girls' sports to the point where they're standing up for these girls. You can only imagine, how it's taken this long, John. And now track and field, as you know, near and dear to my heart, it has now been announced by the Olympic Committee that they will require DNA testing for women. And so we'll see if this sets the course for other sports. But pole vault obviously falls under the field category of track and field. It's one of the hardest events in all of track and field, and one of the hardest competitive events in sports, and quite frankly, in my opinion, and they're looking to level the playing field here, John.
Yeah, it's a sport that requires a tremendous amount of upper body strength, and you would think that a biological male would have an edge in biological women when it comes to competing in that sport. Clearly, that seemed to be the case.
That's speed.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot fast, honey.
Yeah, so Republicans are moving to censure Texas Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett for those remarks
where she seems to be mocking Governor Greg Abbott for being in a wheelchair, and now she is refusing to apologize in brand new sound exclusive to Fox News. Let's bring in Carl Rowe, former Deputy White House Chief of Staff and a Fox News contributor. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us, Carl. We're inside the 2-minute warning to the White House. I want to play this sound from our own Hillary Vaughn, our reporter, and Crockett. Listen.
Saw your comment, excluding your comment, calling better out of the process. I put out a statement, right? Man, you didn't apologize. I'm gonna apologize. When I put out a statement, my statement was my statement, he gets here in a wheelchair. I don't understand that offensive. I don't understand. Right, but why won't you apologize? I put out a statement. Did you not apology? So I did read it. Did not get an apology. Well, you don't feel bad until I was making fun of someone that is in a wheelchair, calling the governor about wheels.
All right, she said she didn't feel the need, Carl, to apologize, and she sent Hillary Vaughn back to her statement, which read this on X. I wasn't thinking about the governor's condition. I was thinking about the planes, trains, and automobiles he used to transfer migrants into communities led by Black mayors, deliberately stoking tension and fear among the most vulnerable. Literally, the next line I said was that he was a hot blank mess, referencing his terrible policies. At no point did I mention or allude to his condition. I don't know. Are you buying that, Carl?
It's complete and utter baloney, let's be honest about it. Look, full disclosure, I'm a longtime personal friend of Greg Abbott. I met him when he was a district court judge, introduced him to Governor Bush, and put him on the Texas Supreme Court. He is an admirable public figure, and he has overcome so much in his life. Jasmine Crockett was a one-term member of the Texas House where she was a joke. She has now been elected to Congress. She is in her sophomore term. She is politely an idiot, a loudmouthed idiot, and her comments about the governor were reprehensible, and her failure to apologize shows her true character.
Well, Abbott responded last night on Hannity, and he kept it classy. Listen.
And know the disaster by the Democrats. The reality is they have no vision, no policy. They have nothing to sell but hate. And Americans are not buying it.
All right, so that was his response, and I'm sure there will be much more. Carl, we're gonna head right to the White House. Caroline Levitt has taken to the microphone there. Let's listen.
Dollars in private and foreign investments. Every single day, more money is pouring into our country, which will create more jobs for hardworking Americans. Today, Schneider Electric pledged to invest more than $700 million in the United States to boost American energy infrastructure and AI. On Monday, Hyundai announced a $20 billion investment in the United States, including $5.8 billion for a new steel plant in Louisiana, which will create nearly 1,500 high-paying jobs. President Trump is truly turning America back into a manufacturing superpower. Yesterday, President Trump marked National Medal of Honor Day by meeting with 21 of our nation's bravest heroes and incredible patriots who have been awarded the highest military honor. Beautiful picture. The president also signed a historic executive order to protect the integrity of American elections by strengthening voter citizenship verification and banning foreign nationals from interfering in U.S. elections. These are the common sense solutions that only Democrats could oppose. But voters deserve elections they can trust, and critical confidence is being restored thanks to President Trump's leadership. Later this afternoon in the East Room, President Trump will mark Women's History Month by honoring the exceptional women around our country, including the highly talented women in his administration and his cabinet. And on an additional scheduling update, the president will hold a press conference in the Oval Office today at 4:00 p.m. to announce tariffs on the auto industry, and I will leave that to him to make that announcement later. Unfortunately, all of this good is happening for our country. This administration is the American public every day, but the mainstream media continues to be focused on emotional.
Yeah, this is Judge Blanchette. I just wondering how close you are to finishing that feeding. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Looking into how our phone number was inadvertently added to this messaging thread. We have said all along that no classified material was sent on this messaging thread. There were no locations, no sources or methods revealed, and there were certainly no war plans discussed. The Atlantic has even admitted this themselves. Their release of these internal messages validates the truth, which we have been saying all along. If this story proves anything, it proves that Democrats and their propagandists and the mainstream media know how to fabricate, orchestrate, and disseminate a misinformation campaign quite well. And there's arguably no one in the media who loves manufacturing and pushing hoaxes more than Jeffrey Goldberg. Goldberg is an anti-Trump hater. He is a registered Democrat. Goldberg's wife is also a registered Democrat and a big Democrat donor who used to work under who? Hillary Clinton. This is the same Jeffrey Goldberg who infamously lied about weapons of mass destruction to get us into the Iraq War, which cost trillions of dollars and thousands of American soldiers. And how else has Goldberg discredited himself? By absurdly claiming that President Trump was Vladimir Putin during the 2016 campaign, by peddling the Russia hoax that tried to hijack President Trump's first term, by inventing the suckers and losers hoax to help Joe Biden in the 2020 election, by peddling a hoax about President Trump involving Gold Star families to help Kamala Harris in the 2024 election, which our campaign at the time vigorously denied. There's more that we don't know today, and we now add the signal hoax to this very long list. The real story here is the success of President Trump's decisive military action against Houthi terrorists. On March 15th, President Trump ordered a series of military operations against the terrorist Houthis to defend U.S. shipping and assets in the Red Sea, restore freedom of navigation for international shipping, and defend the United States from enemy threats. United States successfully struck down dozens of targets across Houthi-controlled territory. And as a result of these actions, several Houthi leaders were killed, including the Houthi drone chief, his deputy, and several of their drone experts and other key leaders. We also destroyed command and control facilities, weapons manufacturing facilities, and advanced weapons storage locations. And it's important to remember why this powerful action took place in the first place. Because of Joe Biden's incompetence and pathetic weakness on the world stage for years, the Houthi terrorists grew emboldened. Immediately after taking office in 2021, Joe Biden removed the Iran-backed Houthis from the foreign terrorist organization and specifically designated global terrorist list. Did anybody in this room ask the Biden administration at the time why they made such a stupid mistake? This reckless action undid the designation put in place by President Trump. And what followed was predictable and devastating. The Houthis targeted U.S. military ships and aircraft, hit commercial ships, including U.S. flag vessels, threatened our personnel overseas, and attacked our allies in the region. This resulted in more than a year of U.S. flagged commercial ships being prevented from safe Suez Canal, the Red Sea, and the Gulf of Aden. This had a massive negative impact on global trade of the economic security of the United States. Joe Biden was the commander-in-chief, and he sat on his hands while the United States of America was bullied and embarrassed by the terrorists. President Trump and his team are putting a stop to these threats and restoring American strength around the world. The Trump peace through strength approach means no terrorist force will stop American commercial and naval vessels from freely sailing the waterways of the world. But unfortunately, this is not what the Democrats and the media want to talk about. They are focused on a coordinated campaign to try and sow chaos in this White House. And this has been the most successful first 2 months of any administration ever, which is exactly why they are doing this. We are not going to bend in the face of this insincere outrage. And here's just one example of how bad faith the Democrats' criticisms are. Democrat Senator Mark Warner is hysterical over the use of Signal, which is an approved encrypted app, and the killing of Houthi terrorists. But Senator Warner himself used Signal to work with a lobbyist for a Russian oligarch to connect with the discreet field dossier author who started the Russia hoax, which Jeffrey Goldberg later reported on. How ironic. We're not going to lose focus of the bottom line, which is that Joe Biden's weakness enabled and emboldened Houthi terrorists, and President Trump's strength and resolve eliminated those terrorists. Here in our new media seat today, we have Blanchette. She is the managing editor for Merit TV and serves as their White House correspondent. Merit TV launched 1 year ago and creates and distributes content across diverse platforms. We're glad to have you with us, Blanchette. Please bring it up.
Appreciate the opportunity from Merit TV. Two questions, if I may. One on signal, one on the economy. On signal, how comfortable is the president with what was shared so far and how much change has been agreed?
The president, you on all of this remains the same today as it did yesterday. And I think it speaks volumes about the leadership of this president, that he went directly to all of you, members of the press corps. He was asked, do you want someone else to go out and do a briefing? And he said,
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. And your name?
Adrian Jackson.
Hey, Mr. Jackson, give me just a second.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Jackson, you are charged by warrant number 24S14475, issued out of the St. Center County Court for the offense of driving while intoxicated in misdemeanor Class A. You understand that charge?
Yes, sir. What I'm trying to figure out is why did they issue my driver license back?
I have no idea. I'm just here to arraign you and magistrate you on the warrant. I have no idea about your driver license. So let me just go ahead through here and give you your constitutional rights and set your bond so you can get out. You have a right to hire an attorney to represent you. You have the right to have the attorney with you while you're being questioned by peace officers or attorneys that represent the state. If you cannot afford an attorney can be appointed for you. You have the right to remain silent. You're not required to make a statement, but any statement you make can be used in court against you. Do you understand those rights?
Yes, sir.
Do you need a court-appointed attorney?
No.
Okay, if you just give me a second here, I'm gonna complete some paperwork as we go along. Are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently out on bond for any other charges anywhere else?
I don't have no more charges.
Okay. The judge that issued your warrant has set your bond at $5,000. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. See you.
You done? Yeah, I guess so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just knock on the door. The jailer come get you.
Okay. How much would for me to get bonded out?
That would be between you and the bonding company that you hire as to what they charge to post a $5,000 bond.
Oh, okay.
You done? Gonna get the next one, sir, Judge.